What is going on, everybody? Nasdorachi coming back at you again for another Dragon Ball Legends video. Finally have a little bit of stuff for me to talk about here and something new to go over. So that's what we're going to be doing today. We'll be checking out not only the new VJump scan we just got about like 30 hours ago that I actually found out about like considerably late, but we'll also be looking at, as of course you can see in the background, SHALLOT and GIBLET, both coming with their Super Saiyan God forms. Now, I do not believe GIBLET will be playable at this point, but for now, I think we're just going to be looking at a 6-star SHALLOT with his Super Saiyan God transformation, so we can check out pretty much all the details surrounding that. We're going to just hop onto Twitter because pretty much all of the information has been consolidated into one spot. So let us go ahead and bring up the internet here and appease everyone's thirst for knowledge. So of course, the first post we have is the VJump scan. We'll go over this first very quickly. There's not too much to talk about. We don't really have to run the translator over everything. But we did get the brand new VJump scan, which I'm assuming is going to be for our next Ultra Space Time banner. Since the anniversary kind of threw off the release schedule for those, we haven't actually seen one in quite a while. We have the non-Resurrection of F, so the actual series versions of Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Goku, and Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Vegeta. Before, besides the LF Vegeta, we only have the Resurrection of F or the Whis-Gi versions of these characters. Again, LF Vegeta does not count for that. He's, a Legends Limited unit. And Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Kaioken Goku, also a little bit different. He's not just this base Super Saiyan God form. So with that being said, we will finally have those in the game, most likely tagged for future to go along with the Goku Black characters and some of the anniversary stuff we were just looking at. We do know that Goku gets stronger as your enemies swap. Vegeta gives death buffs to the team when he passes away. So if Vegeta dies earlier, he'll buff up, of course, your other characters like the yellow future Gohan, the yellow Son family Gokus, a few other characters like that with their death buffs. And if we look at their stat distributions here, it seems like the Goku is going to be more offensively based with a little bit less ki restore and a little bit less defense, I think. And this guy looks like more of an offensive unit, or at least well-rounded. So it's hard to determine exactly what they're going to be between support, defense, blast, or strike. But both of them, the Goku seems actually a little bit less balanced and well-rounded. So he's likely going to be like a support or a very specific type of unit. Whereas the Vegeta looks like he could just be a more balanced, like blast or strike based character, or defense with these stats, because everything is spread fairly even here, so possibly a defense unit. Either way, for future tag, hopefully they'll have that on their Z abilities, or Vegeta family, Son family, Saiyans respectively. So hopefully they'll be appropriately colored to fit in nicely. And for Ultra Space Time units, if that's what this is, not a Legends Rising banner, they're fairly hyped characters. They do show the Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Goku here punching Blue Vegito. So they likely had this set up well enough in advance to know that he was coming, to get all this art and everything set up here. And we see the Gallic gun up here coming from the Vegeta, if we actually just look at the full-size image here and check it out this way. It's a little bit dark. The lighting on this picture was not done very well. So again, we have the Gallic gun with Vegeta there. Some really nice art of him pointing at himself, pretty standard. We've got Goku here looking a little bit beat up in the background of his art, but ready for battle in the front. The punch to Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Vegeta's face there, stat spreads. And then down in the bottom, it looks like it's just reminding you about how you can search for tags and how easy it is to kind of narrow down team building if you need that extra assistance. And SHALLOT's corner is just usually a reminder about old stuff. It's showing Fusions teams and Movies teams down here. I'm not sure exactly what the reminder is, but none of this information in these categories are ever new right here. So it's basically from this point up, just checking out those two brand new characters. Again, I don't have very many Chrono Crystals, but if it is an Ultra Space Time banner and we get the tickets, hopefully we get some free luck for guaranteed sparking pulls, and some of us cheaper budgeted players can walk out with them as well. if you're a spending player, I'm sure the hype levels of these characters will be enough to convince you to cough up a few dollars. I know I would, maybe like $20, $30 at this point, but these are both very good looking character arts, and honestly, they are both very popular characters, so I'm sure, like myself, most all of you will probably want them, at least one or the other as well. Jumping from there, we can go back to the internet and start talking about the Super Saiyan God Shallot. So, of course, thanks to Renzi, we did get their arts a little bit early. We'll check those out briefly. Both of them looking quite nice. I love the artist that does the work for Legends here. And scrolling up, we will see the first time clear will get us another 200 Z power for Shallot. With everything included up to finalizing this chapter, we should have all the 300 needed to get him to his 6-star range. So not only will we kick up his Z ability there a little bit, but we'll also get, some extra stats and, of course, his new transformation to go along with it. Of course, here the rewards are nothing too out of the ordinary, just that Z power and the transformation from winning the battle are going to be what's nice. And continuing further up from Legend Space, again, thank you Renzi and also Spider for getting all of this information in one spot for me to talk about it. We have him here, of course, being a melee type, but his blast damage stat is actually what's favored in this build. If you see him here, you could have actually put him at 6 stars since we'll have that, but it doesn't matter. At 5 stars with the God Transformation, 252k blast attack, 236k strike. So even though he's labeled as melee, he actually favors strike, or blast. That's actually all similar to the transforming yellow Super Vegeta, who has the exact same thing going on, where even though he is a blast character, his strike attack is actually higher post-transformation. Pretty interesting. Of course, Super Saiyan God, he'll have that God Key tag, I would assume, because of that. Yep. So he can be built onto most likely your Saiyan-based God Key teams, because his Z ability, of course, still only buffs Saiyan health. But on that variant of that team, like a sub-build of God Key, he will be doing quite nice. Moving over here, his main ability post-transformation, that's after he's already transformed, will draw a special move arts card next, so he gets a free blue card, restores his own health by 20% and ki by 50, so no matter what, he'll at least be able to finish out with that blue card. Maybe you'll be able to combo into it if you have a little bit more ki. 30% to damage inflicted for 30 counts, and reduces damage received by 20% for 30 counts. It's a pretty good main ability. The free blue card, the free ki, the 20% health is good enough by itself. Then you get a damage buff and a defensive buff for 30 counts. So very, very nice in terms of his second main ability. His new passives associated with the God form will be Becoming the Legend. Applies the following effects to self after transforming. He'll have 60% to damage inflicted, which of course is 90% with the main ability. Minus 10 to his blast arts cost, which makes them the same cost as strike arts. They'll both be looking at 19 cost, and that makes him a potential combo monster in this situation, especially when you combine it with the plus 100% to ki recovery that he gets. And that's one of Shallot's biggest downfalls, is how slow his ki recovery was. With 100% buff to that cannot be canceled and no time limit on it, he's not going to have too many problems getting ki back now. So that's amazing. And when you combine that as well with his green card, which we have not looked at yet, but that's going to be buffing his card draw speed. So the lower yellow card cost in conjunction with the card draw speed, the ki recovery, I do think he will be comboing quite nicely in this form here. And again, not too many worries about ki. Applies a buff to self, nullify any stat downgrades up to 3 times, so he will not be able to be debuffed to his stats. Applies buff effect, nullify abnormal conditions up to 3 times. So he's going to be a great counter for Hero Hercule even in this form. Hero Hercule, you'll be seeing him trolling around with a global team-wide paralyze effect. You're not going to have to worry about that too much with Shallot, if at all, because he only applies it twice, and Shallot can ignore those type of stats or abnormal conditions 3 times each. That's really nice. New heights, 10% to damage inflicted for 10 counts every time this character uses an arts card. We look at that very specifically. It's not every time he lands one, so every time he uses it, regardless of if it's vanished or not, or 2 yellow cards clashing with each other, red card clash, no matter what, he'll get that buff regardless of if it connects. reduces the next damage sustained by 15% every time his own attack is evaded with Vanishing Step, which cannot be stacked, and it applies until the combo is finished. So a lot of times what you'll see happen is you'll go into attack, the enemy will vanish, but you'll have good timing, you'll be able to cancel, they'll swap, and then you'll try and attack again, and they'll double vanish your single character to set you up for an undodgeable return attack, basically a counter. This will stack 30% to his defense until that next combo is finished, if that happens to you, which is quite a nice buff. Again, with his second main, he'll be buffing defense also, so you'll have some pretty nice defensive stats on the Shallot as well as offensive stats. There is no distinction between Blast or Strike when it comes to any of his buffs. It's just he'll have that nice -10 to Blast Arts cost. So really, it doesn't really matter that he's melee type with higher Blast stat. You can kind of build this either way. And another thing to point out is before, for Super Saiyan 3, the Revolt Pile with Bardock was Shallot's best special move because it would scale solely off his strike attack, which at the time in that form was much, much higher than his blast attack. Now that his blast attack stat is, and we'll go back to that really quickly, now that his blast attack stat is pretty absurdly high in addition to strike attack, the Zenkai Goku plus 100% damage Kamehameha likely might be his new best special move that you can equip in the game. Definitely will be playtesting that, but again, because that Kamehameha will leverage both blast and strike attacks, it might actually outperform the Revolt Pile for this particular transformation. So it's good that we covered that also. Probably going to want to use that Zenkai Kamehameha with the plus 100% damage. Of course, it shows Wild Cannon here. We can swap that out. That's irrelevant. But the green card we briefly mentioned earlier restores his own ki by 50 upon activation and increases his card draw speed by 1 level for 10 counts, which will work again great with that 100% to his boosted ki recovery as well. It also is comboable into pretty much everything. It says excluding some. I'm going to say that that's going to exclude it being comboable into things like the Revolt Pile, the melee supers that require you to travel the entire way across the screen. But for beam supers that just fire from the back row to the front row nearly instantaneously, that will likely combo just fine with this green card. And Rising Rush should also. It's very, very powerful. We've seen this style of kind of interrupt. It doesn't have blast armor, so it's actually not an interrupt, but we've seen this style of green card plenty of times before. So it's very, very useful. And the key, again, everything about this is extremely good. So with that being said, we've pretty much covered everything about Shallot. I do not know if there's anything on Legend Space about Giblet itself. I do not believe so. But let's go to the events here very quickly and just briefly look at this. Story, events, the Singular Compulsion Goku Black will be coming back. The Anniversary Choice Battle will be coming out, which is just, I would assume, like a daily stage, where you can pick what rewards you want. It's just like the other choice battles, but with different rewards that are more tiered to the anniversary. So that's pretty neat. Go back, and yeah, there's nothing else too specific in here. The Ginyu Rising Battle will be back also. Main story, they've updated this icon to now show Super Saiyan God Shallot in game. Part 7, the Saiyan God, Chapter 8, droppable items. Ooh, Buhan, he shows up to interrupt things. Part 7, Book 6. Alright. Land a strike skill 3 times, health 2.4 million. Alright, yeah, that's kind of what we already looked at. So that'll be the new stage there. Alright, well, we'll check it out when it drops. I'm actually pretty far behind in the story, so it'll take me a little while to get back to that point. But in the meantime, if you wanted a nice Shallot and Giblet wallpaper for your phone or your PC, I have released them on Twitter and in the Facebook group with Google Drive links to snag both of them. So it's actually the wallpaper you see me using in the background. You can get it for free if you'd like. And besides that, that's pretty much all we have for this episode. We covered the VJump, we covered Shallot. If we get any more news about like playable Zaha, playable Giblet, or anything like that, of course I'll be keeping you updated. If you enjoy the video, consider leaving a thumbs up on it. Help spread it out so more people can see it. If you're new around here, consider subscribing so I can see you again on future uploads. And of course, leave a comment down below. What are your thoughts on that VJump magazine with the Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Goku, and Vegeta? And what are your thoughts on Super Saiyan God, Shallot, and Giblet? I'd love to hear it down below. And until the next video, I'll see you again real soon. Peace out. Have a great day.
Shallot and Giblet be looking thick though.